And good afternoon. We just want to update you on what's happening with this winter storm, and it is a doozy. If you look on the monitor behind me, you can see we go from Maine all the way down in what they call the coastal bend region of Texas, and that's where this storm is moving through. As a matter of fact, in Texas, they've been looking at over 70,000 businesses and homes without power because of the ice storm. Let's go to the weather computer and I'll show you what's going on. There's that line right there, and it's impressive. As a matter of fact, this line, over 2,100 miles. And as I mentioned, it starts down there in southern Texas and goes all the way up into Maine. Look at that. And along that line, we have tens of millions of people dealing with rain, ice, and then snow behind it and some weather-related issues. Let's focus now here at home. This is what we have going on. Most of the area is still rain. You can see those pinks, though, beginning to try and build as we look up there in that northwest corner. We're talking right up in here. See that? Bradford, Tioga County. That's where we may be looking at that mix trying to move in. Temperatures right now, just north of Towanda in Sayre, they're about 31 degrees. So that's why you're starting to see the pinks up there beginning to form. Towanda still, we just heard from Courtney and Bonnie who are up there, a crew that we have. They're right about 35. So we'll continue to see that number coming down. And then we have some downpours actually coming down just north of Scranton in the Wyoming Valley there near Factoryville. Zoom in on that, you get the yellows. Those are some moderate rain that's going to be coming down. But again, the area that we're expecting to see the most snow would be here, but ice is also an issue as well. So, and the other thing I want to mention before we get into the ice, fog. That fog is very thick. Looking out the backyard, I can't even see Montage Mountain. The fog is so thick. So here's your visibility, 0 miles. Williamsport State College, Scranton, 1 mile there in Lehighton, 2 miles up there in Wellsboro. So, all right, let's talk about what's happening right now, and that is we have rain coming down. Now, we're going to see several kinds of precipitation over the course of the next 24 hours, but rain is what we have featured right now, and that's what we're going to continue to see for the next couple of hours. Eventually, that colder air off to the right there, that's nosing in to the west, pushing in from the east to the west, and that's going to lift up that warmer air. And as it does, it's going to create freezing rain. And then eventually some sleet and snow, but it's that period of freezing rain that we're concerned with because we certainly don't need that freezing rain on trees, power lines, those types of things, bridges, overpasses. So if you're wondering about the change, by say 4 or 5 o'clock, we're just beginning to see it enter there in the Susquehanna Valley. So by 6 o'clock, I think we'll start seeing some freezing rain there in Williamsport. A little bit later than that for the Wyoming Valley. So the good news is if you have plans, back it up here, between now and say 7, 8 o'clock tonight, you have to run some errands or get some things done, you should be okay. Once we get beyond 6, 7, 8 o'clock, that's when we start seeing that wintry mix moving in. And we could be talking, you know, anywhere from 1/4 inch to maybe 1/3 of an inch of that icy mix, that freezing rain. And then on the back side of it, it goes back to snow showers. So I'll show you just one model, and we were talking about this during our meeting today. This gives you an idea, again, of the potential. Now, obviously, if we get over 1/2 inch of ice on trees and power lines, then we're looking at some serious problems. Again, this is one computer model showing that most of the area, if you look at Scranton, just under 1/4 inch, Chickasha as well, Hazelton, and then you come over into the Susquehanna Valley, Williamsport showing just over 1/3 of an inch, Mill Hall as well. But those areas just north of Williamsport, from northern Lycoming County over into Sullivan and parts of Wyoming County, that's where you get some higher elevations and could be looking at a little more of an icy mix there, and certainly not a good thing. If we look at our scale, we showed this yesterday, 1/10 of an inch, light glaze, like some of the outlying areas are showing. That's just some ice on the trees and power lines, nothing big, and then slick spots on sidewalks and steps and those areas. Now we start getting into 1/4 inch of ice, which we've seen some of those numbers, and that can create slick spots, tough to stop on bridges, overpasses, steps, you know, railings, things along those lines. Ice begins to build up on the trees, and you can start seeing the potential for some power outages isolated. You get to that 1/2 inch of ice, now we're talking some widespread tree damage, some power line problems. Roads are complicated, impassable, becomes very icy. So again, not saying we're going to get there, but I think the 1/4 inch of ice in some spots certainly is realistic, maybe even as much as 1/3 of an inch of ice. As far as snow goes, we're still looking at the highest totals in that northwest corner We talked about this map yesterday. It really drops off once you get down into northern, like Cumming County, northern Clinton County, and then you start heading south. You see the numbers really trail off. So only an inch, maybe 2, 3, 4 in a few spots, and then just south of the Susquehanna and Wyoming valleys, looking at barely anything, only a trace to maybe 2 inches of snow by the time it's all said and done. So when are we going to see the changes? Well, our temperature trends showing us that anytime, this is for AVP, by the way, the Scranton area. North of us, it'll happen a little sooner. But once we get beyond 6, 7 o'clock, we really see those numbers coming down, and that Arctic air will win the battle here. And we're looking at sub-freezing temperatures right through the weekend. So just to recap before we go here, we're still thinking, again, rain changing to a mix and then snow. That rain heavy at times as we move through the afternoon. We're seeing a couple pockets of that right now. Rainfall totals anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. That could create some problems in small streams and creeks. So we'll have to watch that. The biggest problem I think we'll have is that change over to an icy mix of sleet and freezing rain. And then Friday, we have those temperatures coming in that are going to put us in sub-freezing category. Haven't spent too much time talking about the weekend forecast, but here it is. You're looking, it's going to be sub-freezing right through the weekend. We're looking at a high Saturday, only 23, a breezy northwest wind, and then Sunday's high, partly sunny, cold, with below normal temperatures there as well. So we are watching all of this. We're going to continue to bring you updates, obviously, on WNEP, WNEP.com. So all the social media avenues that you like, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of that. So keep coming back for more information. We'll continue to share, and we'll have more updates for you as we move through the afternoon and evening as we see that transition from rain to that wintry mix. Thanks for joining us. More updates coming later on.